let's get to Oregon. If the Ducks rematch with Indiana in the semifinals, how would you expect that to go? What's a key to the game? Where can Oregon learn from game one to maybe win that rematch in game two?
Well, number one, they got to win the line of scrimmage. You go to the second half of that game, and I love, to your point, watching Kurt Signetti post game or in his interviews. But he's accurate. He's not personal,
Mm-hmm.
but he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We dominated the line of scrimmage, or he said a version of that after the game, and he did. Like what he likes to say is like we took their will. I wouldn't go that far because I know Oregon too well. But when you win at the line of scrimmage, you can do that to a team, and they won at the line of scrimmage. How many times have we said that about the Ducks since Dan Lanning showed up?
Mm-hmm.
Georgia in his opener.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of another time when you're like
Yeah.
they lost the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Yeah.
So that's number one, especially in the offensive front. They got to be able to run the football. They got to be able to stop the run. Two is Dante Moore. He referenced it earlier this week in advance of their first round against James Madison, where he talked about in that game, his teammates even said, "Hey, you're not having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Where's like the smiling Dante Moore? Where's the loose Dante Moore?" And he goes, "Yeah, I was a little too tight." And I think I loved his vulnerability, and it's also accurate in terms of the growth of the position. You have to go through hard things. That's why I'd be so curious. Like, does he decide to come back? If they go on a run and win the Natty, I understand if you don't. But having the limited number of starts at this level, you can argue, come out because it's a weak draft at quarterback. You can argue come back because your team's loaded and give yourself more experience. The numbers in the NFL, I think, are pretty spot on in terms of limited starts have often meant limited early success,
Mm-hmm.
depending where you go. So we'll see what he decides to do. But those are the things. Can you win up front? And then how does Dante Moore play? And I think we'll have a hell of a game. I really think the three Big Ten teams, and not even being like a Big Ten guy,
Mm-hmm.
just being a college football guy, I will be surprised if all three of them are not in the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
I really will be surprised. I think Oregon's better than Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Indiana will be able to beat, because the defense we talked about, Oklahoma or Alabama. They've been too inconsistent. And I think Ohio State's about to go on a run. So we'll see. We'll find out what the reigning two-time national champion conference will do.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty impressive with those three teams.
I totally agree. Ohio State's still the quote unquote Vegas odds on favorite to win the title, which to me is kind of crazy. I would have Indiana or Georgia there. Those would be my two favorite teams. But I think I'm with you. All the Big Ten teams definitely will have a say by the end of this thing. All right, two left for you, Yogi. How tough is it for Will Stein and Tosh Lupoy to be doing the double duty? I mean, obviously, we know there's only one portal window now, January 6th or 2nd through the 16th, so that could only get dicey if Oregon makes the national title game, in a sense. Obviously, there's GMs in place now. I know Will's bringing that Pat Bionda guy from Oregon with him to Kentucky. Kentucky's never had a GM before, which is kind of crazy. I read that. But how tough is that? How tough is that double duty for them to be doing?
Well, it's a challenge. You're right. But think of, like, to your listeners and viewers, like, think of what you're balancing in your life, right? Whether that's your job and your family and your passion project, right? I think about, like, as a author, filmmaker, like, I got my day job in college football, and if I'm trying to write a book, like, you got to love it, right? I think about my kids, and when you have a newborn and you're up all night, but you love them, so of course you stay up all night. Like, that's what this is. They've got the thing they love, which is getting the Ducks to a national championship and potentially hoisting that trophy. And then they have their dream that just became actualized. So on one hand, yeah, it's tough and you're exhausted. But the other hand, like, you're doing what you love. Like, you're not waking up early to, do whatever, like do something that maybe isn't, for me, I hate baling hay. I had to do it as a kid. It was miserable. Like, if I had to wake up and do that, I'd be in a tough spot. It wouldn't be my dream job. But if you said, Yogi, prepare to call a CFP game and take your kids to school and be a husband, like, yeah, whatever. Like, don't sleep. Just figure it out because I'm doing what you love.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for those two, knowing them, yeah, they're not flinching. And I love what Tosh said of, Tosh Lupoy, the new head coach of Cal. He's like, during the day, I just put my phone in a cabinet and I don't look at it. And his quality control and his assistants, his wife knows if there's an emergency, call them. Because he knows, like, you get distracted, like all of us do. And all of a sudden, 2-minute text response is a 2-hour, flurry of responses and conversations. So I think the discipline has shown up for them. And I believe that with coaches. I believe like the best programs have clarity, Preston, about the things that matter most,
Mhm.
meaning they have clarity on what matters most, which is getting this team to a national championship. They're confident in it. And then most importantly, the discipline around it. And the discipline right now for both of those two is being tested, but knowing them like and hearing their commentary, I loved it. I mean, I think Tosh said it was a deal breaker for a head coaching job he was up for because they said, we didn't want you to do coaching the CFP. And he was like, no, I'm out.
Mhm.
And I love that because they're giving back to the place that got them the job, which
Mhm.
is exactly what anybody should do. And for anybody who's hiring anyone as an AD, why wouldn't you want Bob Chesney coaching for JMU? It's only going to make UCLA look good. This is only giving Kentucky and Cal positive praise in the postseason with their new head coaches being the head coach.